10 years ago, in 2014, 13-year-old me was scrolling through the YouTube app on his phone and noticed a new video from Markiplier. He was playing this newly released indie horror game about killer animatronics hunting you down while you play as a lone security guard just trying to survive his night shift. This silly little game is known as Five Nights at Freddy's. And flash forward a decade later, and that silly little indie game has become a multi-million-dollar mega franchise consisting of over 17 games, 50 books, a shit ton of merch, and one major Hollywood motion picture. Today, we are celebrating one whole decade of FNAF. But first, we must go back to the series' humble beginnings and learn about the story of one man, Scott Cawthon. Cawthon was born in Texas in the 1970s, and he was brought up Christian and began his career making Christian-based animations and games. Scott made game after game, with many of them being failures not garnering much attention, like The Desolate Hope and The Pilgrim's Progress, to name a few. He became distraught and was going to give up on game development entirely, but he decided to go out with a bang and create something out of his comfort zone. Fueled by the negative reviews for his game Chipper & Sons, which said the characters looked like soulless animatronics, Cawthon began creating the game which would change his life forever.
Hello. I wanted to record a message for you to help you get settled in on your first night.
Five Nights at Freddy's 1 has a very simple premise. You're a night security guard hired to watch over Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Your job includes to watch the cameras and make sure the restaurant stays safe and sound. Sounds simple enough, right? Now what if the animatronic mascots came to life and roamed the restaurant, forcibly trying to stuff you into an animatronic suit? See, the lovable cast of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy are haunted by the spirits of dead children, and they are very prone to acting out against adults. So you need to use the doors to fend them off without using all your power. The game was revolutionary, as unlike other horror games like Outlast or Amnesia, your character couldn't move, and there were multiple ways to defend yourself on a night, and all the threats that were active. So on one night, for example, Bonnie and Chica could be more of a threat, and on another night, Freddy and Foxy could be more of a threat. There were tons of ways to complete and survive all 5 nights without it getting stale or repetitive, something I feel the sequels failed at replicating for a long time. Not only was this a good gameplay experience, there was also a hidden story left throughout Freddy's that players could find through tons of Easter eggs, which tell how the missing children's incident caused the decline of the restaurant. This was the beginning breadcrumbs of the ever-complicated and ever-growing FNAF lore. The first FNAF boomed in popularity, and all your favorite YouTubers were playing it, and even more theorizing on the story of the game. With almost 5 million copies sold on Steam, it was known that the fans wanted more, and more they would receive less than 2 months later.
Hello. Well, if you're hearing this, then chances are you've made a very poor career choice.
So how do you follow up the cultural phenomenon that was the first FNAF? You make it fucking bigger. FNAF 2 features double the animatronics, double the danger, and double the mechanics, and when you mix it all together, you get an incredibly hard game.
Someone cooked here.
FNAF 2's ideas are cool, but I feel the game suffers from having too much going on and being very repetitive and monotonous. Lore-wise though, 2 was very satisfying and revealed even more about the mystery of Freddy's. With such a bigger game, you'd expect this to take years of development time to polish all the kinks. Nope, it came out about 3 months after the original. Basically unfathomable in normal game development. And he didn't stop there, he kept pumping these babies out one after another, with FNAF 3 coming out 3 months after FNAF 2, and FNAF 4 coming out 3 months after FNAF 3. So, what makes these games different from their predecessors? One's green, and one's a dream. In all honesty, I really like FNAF 3 even more than 2. To be honest, I like the atmosphere and story, and Springtrap is the main antagonist of the series, and is quite an iconic character even if his jump scare is lacking. The presence of multiple endings also adds to replayability, which I personally prefer over custom night challenges. FNAF 4, on the other hand, scared the shit out of me, and I never actually finished that game, even to this day. All these games came out within a year of the original game's release. You have to think that is a wild turnaround to release 4 games in 1 year, and I believe that was due to hype and popularity. See, Scott knew he hit a gold mine, and he had to keep drilling for gold while it was still shining. He followed up the original quadrilogy with something experimental: Pokemon! But the less said about FNAF World, the better. So let's get into Sister Location and Pizzeria Simulator. These are the games that delved more into Scott's sci-fi fascinations as the series started to step away from more supernatural mishaps. These 2 games also really delved more into the story, while also, in my opinion, giving a satisfying conclusion to the 6-game series that I was happy with. They featured more open-ended gameplay, the ability to actually move around and sort of, and with Pizzeria Simulator, a whole ass tycoon, which was really fun. However, this is when the series became an all-out mega phenomenon, and what followed after FNAF 6 was unfathomable.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Fazbear Entertainment would like you to put your hands together for the one, the only, Freddy Fazbear.
After the release of FNAF 6, the series really started to explode, with toys and merch coming in the boatloads, mostly by Funko. There was also an influx of new FNAF books. While the novel trilogy was already started, there were so many other books on the way, like Fazbear Frights, The Tales from the Pizzaplex, and so many activity and log books. There was also even more spin-off games from the main series, with 2 VR games, as well as an augmented reality game, as well as charity games like Freddy in Space 2 and 3. And that's not even to mention the fan community. The fans have been making so many fan games dating all the way back to 2014 with the original Five Nights at Treasure Island. There are way too many to name, but some of the best received ones are the Five Nights at Candy series by Emil Mago, The Joy of Creation by Nixon, Pop Goes by King Carter, Juniors by the Juniors team, One Night at Flumpty's by Jonachrome, Jolly 3 by Ivan G, and the Five Nights at Fuckboys trilogy by Sable Katmai and Joshua Shaw.
Inhale my dong and enragement child.
On the more official side of the franchise, the next big installment was Security Breach, which launched to great fanfare, as well as a big old chuckle from the community for how broken it was at launch. I mean, look at this. Even with its meme-filled launch, players and fans quickly connected to the new cast of Glamrock Freddy, Glamrock Chica, Montgomery Gator, and fan favorite Roxanne Wolf. She's the best. And of course, the most important thing being the movie, which was in development hell for over 8 years before finally releasing in October of 2023, with a star-studded cast with Josh Hutcherson and Matthew Lillard, and they did so well at the box office that a sequel is already fast-tracked for release in 2025. So yeah, FNAF is big. Bigger than I could have ever expected it to be when I first saw Markiplier play it 10 years ago. The way this franchise and everyone around it has grown and evolved in its first decade are, well, words can't even describe how insane it is. I hope FNAF and its community further evolve and develop creatively in the next decade, and the future seems bright for Freddy Fazbear and friends.